All right, let's just get right into it. You're here because you want to make some real money with AI in 2025, right? But how do you sort through all the hype and find the skills that actually pay the bills? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the 7 practical AI skills that businesses are frankly desperate for right now.
I mean, with everyone and their mother talking about AI, it's so easy to get lost. You know? You see the hype, you hear about chatbots, but what's the real path forward? So the big question we're tackling is this. How do you pinpoint the skills that businesses actually value, the ones they're willing to pay top dollar for? And this is where we're going to cut right through all that noise. The whole point, coming straight from the source, is to share the skills that businesses don't just want, they desperately need. And yeah, they're willing to pay premium rates for them. So we're not talking about just playing around with cool new toys here. This is about building a real career with tangible, high-demand ability. Okay, first things first. We've got to look past all the hype to find what's real. And that starts with the one skill, the one that everything else is built on.
And that brings us right to skill number 1, prompting, or prompt engineering. Seriously, this is the absolute non-negotiable starting point. If you want to get any real value out of AI, you have to nail this. It's literally the difference between getting a genius-level result and getting complete garbage.
So what even is prompt engineering? Well, here's the best way to think about it. Imagine you have this incredibly intelligent employee, but they can't read your mind at all. They need you to give them super clear, structured instructions to do a good job. That's exactly what this skill is all about. You're learning how to be a great manager for an AI. And trust me, getting this right is absolutely critical. Look at this number, 78%. That's not a small number. It comes from recent industry research, and it's the percentage of AI projects that fail. And get this, they don't fail because the tech is bad, they fail because of poor communication between the human and the AI. That means companies are literally burning millions of dollars just because people don't know how to ask the right way.
Okay, so how do you ask the right way? Look, the pros, they don't just type a vague sentence and hope for the best. No way. They use a structure, a formula. And it's these 5 parts right here. You give the AI a role, you provide context, you define the task, you specify the audience, and you tell it the output format. This framework, it's what turns a random guess into a repeatable process that gets you high-quality results every single time. And here's the difference in action. It's night and day. A lazy, vague prompt like, hey, write me a fat loss ad, is going to get you something generic and, let's be honest, pretty useless. But a structured prompt, where you define the role, a direct response copywriter for women over 40, the task, the audience, the format, you give the AI everything it needs to create something sharp, precise, and effective. The results aren't even in the same league.
Okay, so once you've got prompting down, you can move on to becoming what we'll call an AI user. And this next group of skills is all about taking that foundation and using existing AI tools to solve some really common and really expensive business problems.
Which brings us to skill number 2, AI automation. Now get this, according to Slack, the average office worker spends 40% of their time, that's almost half the workday, on repetitive, low-value tasks. Just think about that for a second. That is a huge amount of time and money being completely wasted on stuff that a human brain doesn't even need to be doing.
And when you learn how to solve that problem, the scale is just mind-blowing. The source for this explainer personally runs 2.6 million automations every single month across their businesses. This stuff handles everything from boring data entry to tracking KPIs, and all that work is equivalent to what 36 full-time employees would be doing. So you can see why this is such an incredibly valuable skill, right? And the best part? You don't need to be some coding genius to get started. You can use no-code tools. Zapier is kind of like the training wheels. It's perfect for beginners who just want to connect different apps together. Then you've got Make.com, which lets you build more complex, intelligent workflows, like with decision trees and stuff. And if you need something totally custom, there are advanced open source options like Neon. The point is, there's a tool for every level.
All right, skill number 3 takes aim at another massive business expense, design. You know how it used to be. You either had to shell out thousands of dollars for a design agency, or you launched with branding that looked, well, amateur. But now,
AI tools can spit out world-class logos, branding, and even ad creatives in just a few minutes, all for a tiny fraction of the old cost. Now for our fourth skill, AI copywriting. And this one has a direct, undeniable line to making more money. Just look at this webinar example. With a weak script, you only keep 20% of your audience around for the actual sales pitch. You end up with, say, 2 customers. But with an AI-optimized script that keeps 80% of them hooked, for the exact same webinar, with the exact same product, you've just 4x'd your customers and your revenue. That is the insane financial power of getting the words right. So that's the whole AI user side of things, using existing tools. But the next level of mastery, and frankly, the next level of income, comes from actually building with AI. This next set of skills is for the AI builders. And this is where you go from just using value to creating entirely new value from scratch. And the difference between the two is really simple, but it's so powerful. An AI user, they take platforms that already exist to solve problems we already know about. But an AI builder, they create custom applications from the ground up. They build new value and solve unique problems that no off-the-shelf tool can touch. And yeah, that's the path to a much, much higher income. This brings us to skill number 5, AI software development. Now, I know, building with AI can sound super intimidating, but the entry points today are way more accessible than you think. You really just need a few things. Python, which is the main language for AI and is surprisingly easy to pick up. You need to know how to use AI APIs to plug into services like OpenAI, some basic data handling skills, and a place to practice. A platform like Kaggle is perfect for this. You get to solve real-world problems for huge companies like Google and Netflix. And what's the real reason to learn how to build? Well, just look at the money. As an AI user, you might charge, say, $3,000 to set up a pretty standard automation project with existing tools. That's good. But if you can actually build a custom software tool that solves a unique, painful problem for a niche client, you're not charging $3,000 anymore. You're looking at $15,000 or even more. It's just a completely different ballgame. The sixth skill, another one for the builders, is AI data analysis. And this is a total game changer. Think about it. Traditional data analysis, it just shows you what already happened. It's looking in the rearview mirror. But AI analysis, it sifts through mountains of data to find hidden patterns, predicts what's going to happen, and then tells you the best thing to do next. It's about looking forward, not back. Okay, so as we start to bring this all together, it's so important to understand the bigger picture here. These skills don't exist in a vacuum. They represent a really unique and, let's be real, probably temporary window of opportunity. I mean, just think about how radically things have changed. 10 years ago, if you had a business idea, you needed to hire a developer, a designer, a copywriter. You were looking at $50,000 or more in costs just to get started. Today, one person with the right AI skills can handle all of it for maybe a few $100 in software subscriptions. And that ability to weave all these other skills together is our seventh and final skill, AI systems integration. That's it. It's the master skill of combining the other 6. And it brings us to this incredibly powerful idea from our source. The barrier between having a business idea and actually building a business has never been lower. Just let that sink in. All those old roadblocks, the huge costs, the need for technical skills, the big team, they've been almost completely bulldozed. But here's the catch, and this is the most important part. This window of opportunity, it is not going to be open forever. Right now, most businesses are still trying to figure this all out. Most people starting out still think they need a huge team and tons of money. And that gap in understanding, that gives anyone who gets this new reality a massive, massive advantage. The people who take the time to master these skills right now, while everyone else is still confused, they are going to be the ones who dominate the next decade. It's that simple. The tools are here. The opportunity is right in front of us. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build?